in life.
Hello.
Yes, just wait for a few minutes for everyone to join.
मिनट यार आवाज नहीं आ रही है.
Hmm, can you hear me now?
हेलो.
Can you hear me?
वेट यार आवाज नहीं आ रही.
Hello. Can you hear me now?
हाँ बढ़िया.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so we can start, I guess.
I think we should wait 2 3 minutes so that people can.
Okay. Okay. You wait for 1 minute. Okay, it's already 11 a.m. So we can start. So good morning, everyone, and a warm welcome to all our viewers. Before we dive into today's session, I want to express my heartfelt gratitude to each and every one of you for being here today. I am Arnav Ghosh, an aspiring biodiversity professional and a project intern at Sustaina Greens LLP. Joining us today is a distinguished guest, Dr. Meenakshi Singh, the founder and managing director of Sustaina Greens LLP. This green tech consultancy is dedicated to providing innovative and sustainable solutions to combat the climate change. So, in this live session, we are honored to introduce Aman Bhatia, a passionate advocate for wildlife and natural conservation. He has been continuously working in this field since 2013, collaborating with various organizations on diverse projects in different landscapes. Currently, he is affiliated with the Wildlife Institute of India in Dehradun and also contributed to the Terai Tiger project of the Wildlife Trust of India. His project mission was to address human-wildlife conflicts in 6 protected areas within the Terai landscape of Uttar Pradesh, encompassing Pilibhit and Durwa tiger reserves, Katrinian Ishnapur wildlife sanctuaries, and North and South Kheri forest divisions. So I want to assure all our viewers that over the next 30 minutes, you can expect to gain valuable insights and engage in thought-provoking discussion. related to wildlife conservation and how one become a conservationist. So, hello and welcome, Aman sir. Would you like to share any opening remarks before we delve into our conversation?
So, first of all, thank you, Sustaina Green LLP, for inviting me for this talk on Wildlife Week, and I welcome all the attendees who are here to to see, to learn whatever I little bit know. I'll try to share whatever little I know about human wildlife conflict or wildlife conservation, and I hope you all will be able to understand whatever I'm trying to say. And if you have some questions, you can ask anyone.
Okay, thank you. So, excellent. Let's begin by laying the foundation and providing essential information for both newcomers to this field and professionals in our audience. So, before we start, recently we celebrated National Wildlife Week in India. Could you please shed some light on its significance?
So, Wildlife Week. Every year we celebrate Wildlife Week, and on in
Yes.
first week of October, and this is 69th Wildlife Week. And actually, Indian Board of Wildlife conceptualized this idea of Wildlife Week. Or then in 1955, actually, it has started. We started celebrating this week-long celebration, and we celebrate Wildlife Week just for raising awareness and to recall our duty towards nature and wildlife conservation, and also we take pledges to protect Mother Nature. And many organizations organize many programs such as educational workshop in schools and colleges, then wildlife photography exhibitions, nature trails, nature walks, and uh, conservation pledges, as I told, drawing competition. These kind of programs many organizations organize to raise awareness. Yeah.
Thank you. So,
So
moving
I hope
forward,
we will be able to celebrate Wildlife Week well.
yes, absolutely. So, moving forward, what is human wildlife conflict and why is it more than just a conservation concern? Can you shed light on upon it?
So, human wildlife conflict is actually a very complex thing. It is not easy to define human wildlife conflict in case if it is conflict or what. But I can say the term conflict is very wrongly used sometimes, because
Yes,
wild animals are not just only in protected areas, but they use another landscape, another habitat, such as sugarcane crops, crop field, and grasslands. And also, they are also, we can see them in villages. So if we see a wild animal after, other than protected area, outside the protected area, then we can call it interaction. Because as I take an example of Tarai landscape of Uttar Pradesh, that Tarai landscape has a lot of sugarcane field. So like, and Pilibhit, Dudhwa tiger reserves are there. Those are surrounded by the sugarcane field, and animals use those sugarcane field to disperse. Wild animals tend to disperse they go from one habitat to another habitat, and then they use these croplands. So if the animal is there and using that area at night, and human is also present there, then it is not conflict. It is just an interaction. We need to understand this. But actually, it is a direct or perceived interaction between human and wildlife. But when there is some clash or disagreement among the people who are involved, then it can lead to conflict. And it is actually interaction, intention, and retaliation. If some animal attacks some human, intentionally or unintentionally, or they damage their crops, or it is like they kill their livelihood, livestock, then it obviously affect their livelihood. Then sometimes when these cases are not resolved well, then it leads to conflict in the long term, because then obviously people will retaliate, and if people will react negatively, it will definitely lead to conflict. And everything
Absolutely.
aims to benefit humans, we all know. And whatever we do in wildlife conservation also helps to achieve sustainable development goals for betterment of human life. And if humans are losing life or negatively impacted, then obviously it can lead to destruction of all habitat, whatever we have, or wildlife species. Yeah, I hope I
So that
answered.
was a truly great and innovative concept you shared with us. So moving to the next question. So what do you think are the main causes or triggers of human-wildlife conflicts?
So as the conflict is very complex thing. So as the causes, so it is very hard to identify the root causes of conflict, but mainly causes are divided, like conflict is divided into three levels. First is dispute, then underlying conflict, then deep rooted conflict. So dispute
Okay.
is what in the initial period when some animal is attacking some human, or when people lose their crops or livestock, it affects their income. So in the initial period, it is dispute. But when uh, issue is recurring, it is not properly solved, and there is a history of continuous uh, these kind of cases, then it can lead to underlying conflict. And when it continues to such a for a long term, and then it can affect the social identity of humans, and it can affect humans, like it can affect their mental system very badly. So if after this thing, so this is deep rooted conflict, when the this conflict thing is in humans mind, even if the wild animals are not doing anything. So these are some types of conflict mainly. But the thing is, land use pattern is the main thing which allows humans to spread into areas inhabited by wildlife. So as we are cutting all the forest, and using those areas for development activities, and for agriculture, and any other thing, so we are cutting the forest, and obviously then animals will come out the forest, and they need a place to disperse and go one place to
Yes.
another place. So then obviously it can lead to like interaction will be more, then obviously sometime it will lead to conflict. And second is change in the distribution pattern of wildlife species, as the wildlife habitat are destructing, like we are damaging the wildlife habitats, their corridor. Which if we take an example of elephant, whatever elephants were using before as a wildlife corridor, now they don't have much spaces. So now they are coming out of the forest to human settlements and villages to for their basic needs, and they are damaging crops. They are eating their crops for obviously their nutritional purpose. So distribution pattern of wildlife species also affect, uh, is responsible for conflict. And both wildlife distribution pattern and land use pattern, change in land use pattern, Both are correlated, and when there is overlap of space and time with high frequency and resource sharing, then conflict can occur. And sometimes conflict situations are also influenced by social or political factors, like when obviously there is politics in local places, then the situation can be exaggerated, then it can lead to the conflict. Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you for sharing. You described in a very detailed manner. And I also similar to this, would you highlight some thoughts on basically who is impacted by human wildlife conflict and in what ways? Are there any hidden impacts?
So mostly people who are living close to the wildlife area or forest, they are more likely to get impacted directly from the conflict, directly or indirectly. There are many types of impacts which we don't consider actually. And people, but if we take an example of Bandhavgarh, like that is
Yes.
a high tourism area, one of the
Hmm.
most famous tiger reserve in India. So if that place, hypothetically, that place will have high human wildlife conflict cases for long term, then obviously humans, the local people will retaliate, and then it will lead to killing of wild animal or destruction of wildlife habitat. If the habitat will be destroyed or wildlife species will be removed, then there are so many Taj properties and some other whatever hotels are there, which are dependent on tourism of Bandhavgarh. So obviously, then they will also be affected in the long term, not shortly. But yeah, mainly people who are living close to the wildlife areas are more likely to get impacted. And we divide impacts mostly into four components. First is direct impact, which is like when there is a kill of livestock or human loss or crop damage. It is a direct loss. We can directly see it. But there are some direct and indirect impacts as well. So indirect impacts are like if there is one person in a family who is the earning member of that family. If some wild animal attacks that person, then yeah, sometimes forest department compensates that person, but that money is not enough for the survival of that family in future.
Yes.
So we look at like one person is gone and they are compensated, but it will actually impact their future, their whole life, because that person was the only earning member. Or some family has uh, 1 acre of land or two livestock or something, and those crop is damaged by elephant, and those livestock are killed by some wild animal. Then obviously they will have a mental pressure that these were the only things for their livelihood. So these are some indirect impacts which we really need to consider if we want to resolve the conflict. Then there is opportunity cost, like risk of damage. So if there is risk of damage, then obviously it will not allow certain kind of economical activities, uh, and it will change the lifestyle of people as well. Like if they if somewhere crop of is like wild animals are damaging, if wild animals are
Yeah.
damaging wheat crops very frequently, then obviously people will not be able to harvest harvest those crops, grow those crops. Then it is it will affect their opportunity. And there is psycholo- psychosocial cost, So these kind of negative interaction or negative experiences then will lead to fear, stress, and obviously frustration in the people who are affected from the conflict. These are the things.
Okay, that is really interesting to know. So, similar to this, what are the solutions are there to help the human and wildlife coexist? Any real incident you have witnessed so far?
Hello,
Yes, can you hear me? Hello.
can you hear me?
Yes, yes. So my question was, what are the
Hello,
solutions are there? Yes, I can hear you.
hello.
Yes. Now it's okay.
I don't know. I can't hear. No.
I can hear you.
Hello, Arnav.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah. Now I can hear you.
Okay. So maybe there are some network issues. Okay, now it's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Let's
It's good.
continue. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
So, so I was asking about what are the solutions are there to help human wildlife coexist? Any real incident you have witnessed?
So, wildlife. You are asking about a solution for conflict, right?
Yes, and also any real witnesses incident. Yes, you can continue.
Hello,
Yes, yes, you can continue.
hello.
Yes. So I was asking about the solutions. Can you hear me?
I can't hear. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
So, it actually depends on the level of conflict. It can be, there are many ways actually. It can be easily resolved by safeguarding the income of local people or whoever who are involved in conflict, or by providing security or using some methods such as barrier between the wildlife and human habitats, or using some methods such as early warning system for wild animals so that people can be alarmed if there is some presence of wild animal, or husbandry improvement such as livestock corralling so that wild animals cannot attack their livestock, and increasing the income sources of local people. And if the conflict is more, then it can be needed to foster the relationships and building communication between multiple stakeholders, whichever are relevant, whoever are relevant, whoever are involved to resolve that conflict. And it can also need to address past or history of conflict, including injustice or unresolved conflict, because many times conflict situations are not resolved by the first department, or organizations are not able to resolve the conflict. So if there is a history of conflict, then that needs to be addressed, and it can need to empower communities through sharing the power of decision making, and by treating them with dignity and respect, and which will help them to get their identity and values, and it will actually support their values. So those kind of relationship building we need to do, and obviously these these can be some solution, and they are very small solution as well, but it takes a very long time.
Okay. So also, can you tell us some real incident you have witnessed so far?
uh, Sorry.
Any real incident you have witnessed?
One-
Hello, can you hear me?
yeah, now.
Okay. So I was asking about any real incident you have witnessed so far.
Okay, so when I was working with the Wildlife Trust of India and their Tarai Tiger project, then I was fortunate to attend some conflict cases. Although it was not fortunate, it was very unfortunate that there is a lot of conflict. But yeah, I was involved some cases which were very successful. So in April 2022, I got a call from forest department and the local people. Actually, ये जो कहानी है वो निजामपुर गांव की है, जो हरिपुर रेंज
Okay.
के पीलीभीत टाइगर रिजर्व के हरिपुर रेंज है, उसके बॉर्डर में है
Yeah.
निजामपुर गांव. So I got a call from forest department and local people that there is one person is attacked by some wild animals while they were harvesting the sugarcane crop. तो तराई
Okay.
लैंडस्केप में क्या होता है कि जब शुगरकेन क्रॉप बड़ी होती है तो वाइल्ड
Mm.
एनिमल्स जो बिग कैट्स है, टाइगर और लेपर्ड, उसे यूज करते हैं डिस्पर्स करने के लिए,
Okay.
डिस्पर्सल के लिए, लंबी रेंज तक जाने के लिए, दूरी तक जाने के लिए
Mm.
उसे यूज करते हैं. और शुगरकेन फील्ड में उन्हें वाइल्ड बोर, गाय और ये सारी चीजें इजी प्रे मिल जाता है. तो वहां पर कई बार कप्स भी जो बिग कैट्स है वो देते हैं. तो
Okay.
मेरे पास जब ये कॉल आया तो करने का सीजन था शुगर केन का, जब सबसे ज्यादा प्रॉब्लम होती है, वाइल्ड एनिमल्स शुगर केन में होते हैं, तब इंटरेक्शन सबसे ज्यादा बढ़ जाता है और कई बार वो कॉन्फ्लिक्ट में तब्दील हो जाता है. तो उस टाइम किसी आदमी पर शुगर केन हार्वेस्ट करते टाइम किसी वाइल्ड एनिमल ने अटैक करा. हम लोग वहां पर गए, चेक करा, तो पगमार्क से और साइन से पता चला कि वो एक लेपर्ड था. तो वो लेपर्ड अटैक करने के बाद शुगर केन फील्ड में से चला गया था, भाग गया था. तो वहां पर वी क्रिएटेड सम नॉइज एंड लाइक वी यूज सम फायर क्रैकर्स. तो हमें लगा कि हाँ, जो भी लेपर्ड था वो चला गया होगा. उसके बाद अगले दिन फॉरेस्ट डिपार्टमेंट वहां पर मौजूद था. फॉरेस्ट डिपार्टमेंट वहां पर शोर कर रहा था, पटाखे बजा रहा था, जिससे कि लोग इजीली शुगर केन हार्वेस्ट कर सके टाइम से और
Okay.
कोई प्रॉब्लम ना हो किसी को. तो उस टाइम भी लेपर्ड ने अटैक नहीं करा, बट नेक्स्ट डे लेपर्ड दोबारा से उस खेत में से जाकर निकला, भाग कर गया. तो दैट टाइम आई वाज ऑन द वे टू दैट विलेज. और जब वो शुगर केन कंटिन्यूअस वो हार्वेस्ट करते रहे तो एक छोटा सा पैच बचा, और उस पैच में जाकर उन्हें दिखे कि वहां पर थे लेपर्ड्स की कब्स. जब हम लोग पहुंचे, उन्हें काउंट किया, तो वहां पर 5 लेपर्ड कब्स थे, जो
हम्म,
मैक्सिमम 6 से 7 दिन पुराने होंगे। तो जब लेपर्ड कप्स को हमने देखा वो बहुत छोटे थे और गर्मियों का टाइम था, समर हीट बहुत ज्यादा थी और वहां
हम्म,
पर कम से कम 1,000 लोगों का क्राउड था, गांव वालों का। और ऐसी सिचुएशन में गांव वालों को हैंडल करना बहुत मुश्किल होता है, बिकॉज
yes,
ऑब्वियसली दे ऑल्सो वांट टू सी व्हाट काइंड ऑफ एनिमल इज इट,
हम्म,
एंड one of them is attacked by that particular animal, so they can retaliate as well. So then we cordoned off that area, that sugarcane patch, and we had an immediate meeting with the forest department and local people for support us. And somehow we managed the owner of that sugarcane field for not to harvest that sugarcane for 2 3 days. And then we the forest officer was really supportive there. Mr. Adarsh Kumar, then that DCF DFO Shajapur was there. He was very supportive. So with his support, we managed to remove the crowd from there, and then we set camera traps for monitoring, like to see what happens at night. And then we stood at a distance of 500 meter or something, and actually they were thinking if we can send them to zoo or something. Then I told, yeah, we should give a chance. So the first department also agreed. So at night when we were at a distance, so actually next day I checked the camera traps and I got the footage. So at 8 p.m. at the night, that female leopard, mother leopard, came, and one by one she took away her 4 cubs. तो 4 कप्स वो उस रात को ले गई थी, और 3 घंटे के अंदर, मतलब 11 बजे तक वो 4 कप्स को वहां से लेकर चली गई थी दूसरी जगह आस पास में ही। और एक कप वहां पर फिर भी रह गया था। तो
हम्म,
नेक्स्ट डे जब हमने सुबह देखा कि एक कप वहां पर है, कैमरा ट्रैप चेक करे, पता चला कि हाँ लेपर्ड ही लेके गया है। लेपर्ड फीमेल जो लेपर्ड है, जिसके मेमोरी की ग्लैंड दिख रही है, जो मदर है वही लेके गई है, कोई जैकल या कोई और वाइल्ड एनिमल नहीं लेकर गया है। तो अब ये चैलेंज था कि उस एक कप का क्या किया जाए। और उस समर हीट में लेपर्ड कप जो 5 6 दिन का है, उसे बहुत फ्रीक्वेंटली फीडिंग चाहिए होता है। तो उसे
हम्म,
उस गर्मी में बचाना एक बहुत बड़ा टास्क था। और बट स्टिल somehow we managed to save that cup. And again we convinced local people and first department for not to send that cup to zoo. And then we tried again for next night, and that female leopard came again and took away that fifth cub as well. So this was the thing. लेपर्ड कप्स चले गए, फीमेल जो है लेपर्ड कप्स को ले गई, सब कुछ हो गया। आ, उसके बाद जो शुगर केन का पैच था वो भी हार्वेस्ट हो गया। अब मोस्टली क्या होता है कि हम अपना काम कर होने के बाद लोगों को भूल जाते हैं जिन्होंने हमें उस टाइम पे सपोर्ट
हम्म,
किया। और लोग, इवन हम लोग भी ये चीज ध्यान रखते हैं कि अगर किसी का काम हो जाता है और वो चला जाता है तो हम भी ये चीज ध्यान रखेंगे। तो ऑब्वियसली वो
हम्म,
गांव वाले भी ध्यान रखते हैं। ठीक है, तो हम लोगों ने इस बार ऐसा नहीं करा, because
हम्म,
obviously they are also curious to know what happened, which was the leopard, how it's looked like, how the
yes,
cubs look like. So we told the local people that we will come again and we'll show you the leopard cubs and everything. तो 4 5 दिन बाद हम वहां पर वापस गए, और जिस 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 पर्सन पर अटैक हुआ था उसका
हम्म,
कॉम्पनसेशन के लिए जो भी पेपर वर्क था उसमें हेल्प करा। उसके बाद 4 5 दिन बाद हम
okay,
उन वहाँ के जो ग्राम प्रधान वगैरह थे उनके साथ उनको इन्वॉल्व करके स्कूल में एक प्रोग्राम करा। रात में प्रोजेक्टर वगैरह ला के एक उस पूरा जो भी वीडियोस फुटेज वगैरह थे, गांव वालों की फोटोग्राफ्स थी, सबकी थी, कंपाइल करके उसकी एक शॉर्ट मूवी बनाई। और जिन भी लोगों के शुगर केन फील्ड में वो कप्स रहे थे, जिन लोगों ने सपोर्ट करा था, और भी जिन लोगों ने हमें मदद करी थी कैमरा ट्रैप सेट करने में या पगमार्क्स आइडेंटिफाई करने में, मूवमेंट आइडेंटिफाई करने में लेपर्ड का, उन 3-4 लोगों को हमने पूरे गांव के सामने सम्मानित करवाया फॉरेस्ट डिपार्टमेंट के ऑफिशियल्स के थ्रू, सर्टिफिकेट्स दिए उन्हें, और उसके बाद उन्हें वो शॉर्ट मूवी रात में स्कूल में दिखाई। और वहां पे एटलीस्ट 200 से 250 लोगों की गैदरिंग रही होगी, एंड दे वर रियली हैप्पी दैट वी केम बैक एंड शोड देम द लेपर्ड कप्स एंड देयर वीडियो, female leopards, how she took away those leopard camera trap videos. तो इसके बाद हमारा ट्रस्ट बिल्डिंग रिलेशन उन लोगों के साथ, हमें वहां से एक्चुअली डब्ल्यूटीआई का प्राइमरी रेस्पॉन्स टीम काम करता है वहां पे, जो लोकल वॉलेंटियर्स का
Okay.
होता है। तो
Hmm.
हमें वहां से लोकल वॉलेंटियर्स भी मिले, और अब वहां पर ऐसा सिचुएशन है कि उन लोगों का आज भी मेरे पास फोन आता है, उस बात को लगभग 1.5 साल हो गया है। आज भी मेरे पास फोन आता है, वो पूछते हैं आप कहाँ पर हैं, क्या है। मैं उनसे पूछता हूँ कोई प्रॉब्लम तो नहीं है। और आई एम श्योर कि फ्यूचर में कभी भी कुछ प्रॉब्लम होगा वाइल्ड एनिमल्स से रिलेटेड या कोई डैमेज होगा, they are not going to retaliate, they will ask for the department or WTI for help, and obviously we will definitely help them. So I hope and I'm sure that there will be no retaliation or no conflict case. Yeah.
Okay.
So this was
So
one
I
of
think,
the successful stories.
yeah, obviously.
There
So
are
I
many
think,
more stories.
yeah. So the story you shared is must be highly motivating for those who are passionate about this field. So thank you for sharing this such amazing story. So before I jump to our next question, just a quick note for the audience. For those of you who have a multiple questions, please be sure to write them down because we will do our best to address them in the last 20 minutes of our session. Now let's move forward and explore the next segment of our session. So are there any successful coexistence initiative in your region and that you would like to highlight? Hello.
Hello, can you repeat?
Yes. So I was asking about are there any successful coexistence initiative in your region that you would like to highlight?
Sorry, your voice got break.
Can you
Please
hear me
repeat one
now?
more time. Na?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, so
Yes,
I
yes.
was asking about are there any successful coexistence initiative in your region that you would like to highlight?
So this case was coexistence story because that leopard was still living there in their village, and she was using the trees, and I showed them the claw marks on the trees. So that leopard was still living there. They also knew it, and I told them like it is ये तुम्हारे गांव की ही
Hmm.
बेटी है जिसने यहाँ पर बच्चे दिए हैं। तो उन लोगों ने वो चीज एक्सेप्ट करी। ये कोएग्जिस्टेंस की एक स्टोरी थी। देन आई हैव वन मोर स्टोरी ऑफ शाहजहापुर। तो शाहजहापुर जो है, शाहजहापुर में एक पोवाया गांव है यूपी में। वो
Okay,
पीलीभीत और दुधवा टाइगर रिजर्व से एटलीस्ट 27 किलोमीटर मिनिमम डिस्टेंस है, एरियल डिस्टेंस फॉरेस्ट से। तो गांव में एक कैनाल है, उसके साइडों में मार्शी एरिया बन गया है। मार्शी एरिया लाइक दलदल काइंड ऑफ एरिया जिसमें घास, बड़ी बड़ी घासें हो
okay,
जाती है। हाँ। तो वहां पर एक कोई वाइल्ड एनिमल था जो रह रहा था, जिसके पगमार्क दिखे थे। तो मेरे पास कॉल आया फॉरेस्ट डिपार्टमेंट से कि यहाँ पर एक शायद टाइगर है, आप आ जाइए। तो मैं वहां पर गया, देखा, पगमार्क्स वगैरह देखे, कैमरा ट्रैप्स वगैरह लगाए। So we could identify that animal as a female tiger, young tiger. तो वो टाइगर वहां पे काफी टाइम से रह रहा होगा, बट लोकल लोगों को पता नहीं चला था। वो वहां पर एक्चुअली कैनाल के पास वाइल्ड बोर वगैरह काफी है, नील गाय काफी है, और यूपी में गाय बैल काफी है। जो आवारा गाय बैल है वो काफी है, तो वो भी खेतों में आ जाते हैं। तो वो उन पे प्रेड करती थी। दीज वर द प्राइमरी प्रे फॉर द टाइगर्स। तो उन पर वो सरवाइव कर रही थी, और लोकल लोगों को कोई नुकसान नहीं हो रहा था, उनके लाइफ स्टॉक को वो किल नहीं करती थी। बट स्टिल उन लोगों ने कभी टाइगर देखा नहीं था, और उनके लिए वहां पर टाइगर की प्रेजेंस, पगमार्क वगैरह बहुत बड़ी चीज थी। ऑब्वियसली हमारे सिटी में भी अगर कि कहीं पे कोई ऐसा वाइल्ड एनिमल आ जाए तो लोग पैनिक करेंगे ही। तो हम लोग वहां पर गए, फॉरेस्ट डिपार्टमेंट पे काफी प्रेशर था इस टाइगर्स को कैप्चर करने का, पॉलिटिकल प्रेशर काफी था। हमने कंटिन्यूअस कुछ टाइम लोगों के साथ मीटिंग करी, लोगों को एश्योर करा कि कोई कभी भी ऐसा प्रॉब्लम आता है तो वो हमें अप्रोच कर सकते हैं, और ऐसा प्रॉब्लम नहीं आएगा बिकॉज हम कंटिन्यूअस उसका मूवमेंट ट्रैक कर रहे हैं। और जहां पर भी उस टाइगर्स का मूवमेंट रहता था उसके आसपास में खेत में और गांव में हम लोग बता देते थे कि आज आपके यहाँ पर टाइगर्स का मूवमेंट है, तो आप अंधेरे में ना निकलें। जो भी अवेयरनेस के लिए एक्टिविटीज कंडक्ट करानी चाहिए, वो प्रिकॉशनरी मेथड बताने चाहिए, वो सब हमने उन्हें बताए। तो उस टाइम शुगर केन हार्वेस्ट हो चुका था, तो ऑब्वियसली वो टाइगर्स वापस जंगल नहीं जा सकती थी। तो शुगर केन बड़ा होना चाहिए, तभी टाइगर जो है डिस्पर्स कर सकता है। ओपन एरिया में डिस्पर्स नहीं कर सकता, वापस से फॉरेस्ट पे नहीं जा सकता। तो बट फॉरेस्ट डिपार्टमेंट में प्रेशर इतना था कि फॉरेस्ट डिपार्टमेंट ने वहां पर ट्रैप केजेस लगा दिए उस टाइगर्स को कैप्चर
Okay.
करने के लिए। बट द थिंग वी डिड, I don't know I should tell or not here, but
No, you can
those
tell.
traps cages were only for the satisfaction of local people, for their mental
Okay.
satisfaction. बट वो ट्रैप केजेस बंद नहीं हो सकते थे, टाइगर उसमें फंस नहीं सकता था। ये काम
Okay.
करा था हमने, क्योंकि वो टाइगर की कोई भी हिस्ट्री नहीं रही थी ह्यूमंस पर अटैक करने की या लाइफ स्टॉक पर अटैक करने की। तो हमने ये प्लान करा कि इस टाइगर को कैप्चर करने की जगह इससे सेफ पैसेज प्रोवाइड कराएंगे, जिससे ये वापस अपने नेचुरल हैबिटेट में जा सके। बिकॉज इसकी
Okay.
ह्यूमंस के साथ बहुत ज्यादा इंटरेक्शन है ही नहीं। ह्यूमंस ने कभी उस
Hmm.
टाइगर को देखा ही नहीं, उसके पग मार्क्स देखे हैं कभी। तो वो केज बंद हो नहीं सकता था। स्टार्टिंग में जो लोगों को लगता था, पैनिक होते थे कि टाइगर है वहां पे, टाइगर है। कुछ महीने बाद वो चीज भी कम हो गई, क्योंकि उन्हें पता था कि टाइगर यहाँ पे रह रहा है, हमें कुछ नहीं कहता है, वो अपनी जगह पे रह रहा है, हम अपनी जगह पे रह रहे हैं। उनने भी उस टाइगर को एक्सेप्ट कर लिया था। धीरे धीरे फॉरेस्ट डिपार्टमेंट पे प्रेशर कम हो गया, और जनवरी में मैंने ये केस स्टार्ट करा था, और अगस्त 2020 तक, जब तक मैं वहां पर उस प्रोजेक्ट में था, तब तक मैंने वो टाइगर मॉनिटर करा। अनफॉर्चुनेटली उसके बाद मेरा एक्सीडेंट हो गया तो मुझे आना पड़ा। बट तब
Okay.
तक, लास्ट तक, अगस्त तक वहां पर कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं थी। वो टाइगर्स वहां पर रह रही थी, फॉरेस्ट डिपार्टमेंट रेगुलरली उसे मॉनिटर कर रहा था, उसका मूवमेंट कहाँ पर है, कब कहाँ पर जा रही है टाइगर्स, डेली का उसका पूरा मूवमेंट ट्रैक बनता था। तो उसके भी कुछ टाइम बाद तक मेरी फॉरेस्ट डिपार्टमेंट से बात होती थी। वो टाइगर्स तब तक वहां पर ही थी। उसके बाद
Hmm.
उसे कैप्चर नहीं किया गया, ये मुझे पता है। उसकी वजह से कोई ह्यूमन डैमेज नहीं हुआ, लाइफ स्टॉक डैमेज नहीं हुआ, ये मुझे पता है। लेकिन वो कहाँ गई उसके बाद मैं उसे मॉनिटर नहीं कर पाया, ऑब्वियसली बिकॉज आई वाज नॉट देयर, आई मेट एन एक्सीडेंट।
Hmm.
बट ये एक बहुत अच्छा कोएग्जिस्टेंस सिनेरियो था जो मैंने एक्सपीरियंस करा,
Yes.
एंड आई वाज फॉर्चुनेट टू बी इन दैट केस।
So it was truly remarkable and innovative perspective you have shared with us. So moving forward, so how does local community or region deal with the human-wildlife conflicts? Are there any air fatalities so far?
Actually, it depends on,
Yes, continue.
Actually, it depends on place to place, area to area, landscape to landscape. The people or the tribes who are already living in some landscape or near forest, they are the most adaptive, and they know the place better, they know animals better, they know their behavior, they know the history of animals there. So they are the most adaptive people, and they know better how to deal with the wildlife, local wildlife. And but the communities which are new to that area, or which are uh, settled there after, like in Tarai there were a community, Raisik community or Bengali community, जो वहां पर सेटलमेंट हुआ था उनका। आई डोंट नो कब हुआ था, ये मुझे श्योर नहीं है, बट उन्हें वहां पर सेटल किया गया था। तो उनके पास प्रॉपर घर नहीं थे, वो लोलैंड तराई एरिया में रहते थे, रिवर के पास रहते थे। तो ऑब्वियसली दे डिड नॉट नो द एरिया वेल, और वो वेल अडेप्टिव नहीं थे। उनकी टेक्निक्स भी ट्राइबल पीपल जितनी उनके पास ट्रेडिशनल नॉलेज नहीं थी, तो उनकी टेक्निक्स भी बहुत ज्यादा रोबस्ट नहीं थी। तो सबसे ज्यादा कॉन्फ्लिक्ट में वही लोग आते थे। हाँ, और बट ट्राइबल लोग जो थे वो, उन्हें एनिमल्स का ऑब्वियसली ज्यादा नॉलेज था, उन्हें एनिमल का प्रेजेंस पता चल जाता था काफी जल्दी, काफी इजीली। तो वो लोग उस एरिया में जाना बंद कर देते थे, रात में उस एरिया में जाना बंद कर देते थे, या उस खेत में ही नहीं जाते थे जब टाइगर, हाथी या कोई भी वाइल्ड एनिमल वहां पर है। और कैसे वाइल्ड एनिमल को भगाना है या क्या करना है, वो भी उन्हें ज्यादा अच्छे से पता था, बिकॉज ऑब्वियसली सदियों से वो लोग उस चीज को फेस करते आ रहे हैं। और कुछ जगह पर सैनिटाइजेशन सिस्टम ऑब्वियसली ट्राइबल लोगों का बेटर था, और वो जब भी खेत में जाते थे तो फोन में म्यूजिक वगैरह बजाते हुए जाते थे या शोर करते हुए जाते थे। और कुछ लोग बायो फेंसिंग भी यूज करते हैं इंडिया के अलग अलग पार्ट में, जैसे एलिफेंट से क्रॉप को बचाने के लिए बायो फेंसिंग यूज करते हैं, जैसे मिर्ची लगा देते हैं चारों तरफ खेत
Okay.
के, मिर्ची उगाते हैं। इस टाइप की चीजें, टेक्निक्स, अलग अलग टेक्निक्स यूज करते हैं लोकल कम्युनिटीज अपने अपने लेवल पर, जो भी पॉसिबल है उस तरीके से। बट still when there is some conflict situation and it is not addressed correctly, then it can lead to anger, and sometimes it is so much like they are so much heated up, like they beat force department and they fire their vehicle, and obviously they retaliate and kill the wild animals. So yeah, that's how they deal.
Thank you for sharing with us. So, do you think there should be stricter laws and regulation to protect both the humans and wildlife in conflict-prone areas?
So laws and regulations, actually laws and regulations are already there. We have Wildlife Protection Act,
Mm.
Forest Conservation Act, Biodiversity Act. So we have these acts, and we have a robust law, uh, but we also have loopholes. So but their implementation part very loose here, because uh, the implementation of law and regulation is very slow in our country, and there is a lot of corruption, obviously. So that also affect these conflict situations. And for humans as well, there every state has some compensation policy if there is some livestock loss or human loss or crop loss. So they have compensation policy, but due to corruption, the affected people do not get that compensation. This is the main problem.
Okay, yes.
So
Yeah.
law and regulation we have, we just need to take care of the implementation part. If that will be faster, then it will be better. स्पेशली अगर किसी का कोई वाइल्ड एनिमल ने किसी इंसान को मारा है, उसे इमीडिएट कॉम्पनसेशन मिलेगा, तो एग्रेशन जो है बढ़ेगा नहीं, वो कॉन्फ्लिक्ट कुछ हद तक रिसॉल्व हो जाएगा। बट अगर वो सालों तक उसे झूठ बोलते रहेंगे या कंपनसेट नहीं करेंगे, तो ऑब्वियसली वो रिटेलिएशन जो मेंटल
हम्म,
फ्रस्ट्रेशन है वो बढ़ेगा। तो इम्प्लीमेंटेशन पार्ट स्ट्रॉन्ग करने की जरूरत है। लॉ वगैरह है हमारे पास, और बेटर लॉयर लॉयर एंड एडवोकेट्स इस बारे में ज्यादा अच्छे से कह सकते हैं rather than me.
yes. Okay. So moving forward. So what are the challenges you faced as a conservationist while dealing with such conflicts?
There are so many challenges actually. So
Obviously.
main one of the main challenges to make the people understand that we
Hmm,
are working for them, and
hmm,
to build that trust which is broken by the historic uh, conflict cases or whatever corruption is there or some other reason. So that trust we really need to build. This is the very big challenge because wherever we go, uh, corruption is everywhere, and
hmm,
most of the time conflict cases are not resolved. So they always are very angry. If there is one conflict cases, we like we can't even communicate to them. बहुत बार ऐसा हुआ था यूपी में जब ऐसा लगा था कि आज तो पिटेंगे। ठीक है, तो ये काफी बड़ा चैलेंज है। उसके बाद नॉट एवरीवेयर, नॉट ऑल, लेकिन फॉरेस्ट डिपार्टमेंट में भी हर डिपार्टमेंट में कुछ ना कुछ करप्शन होता है। सारे लोग ऐसे नहीं होते, बट कुछ जगह पे जहां पर ऐसा करप्शन वाला सिनेरियो होता है, या फॉर कुछ लोगों का या ऑफिसर्स का अपना ईगो होता है, वो
hmm,
चीजों की वजह से कुछ मेन ये मेन चैलेंजेस है काम करने में, जो चैलेंजेस आते हैं। और ऑब्वियसली इसमें लाइक वाई हमारे यहाँ पर डेवलपमेंट के लिए पैसा है, लेकिन वाइल्ड लाइफ के लिए इतना पैसा नहीं है। फंडिंग वगैरह हर
Obviously.
एक चीज का छोटे छोटे बहुत सारे चैलेंजेस है विच वी नीड टू फेस। बट या दीज आर द challenges, and every field has some kind of challenges, so we
Hmm,
can easily face these kind of challenges by using other methods. तो डेडिकेशन हो तो ये सारी चीजें हो सकती है, कुछ मुश्किल नहीं है।
okay, so that is really interesting to know. So any final thoughts or message you would like to share with the audience regarding this important issue?
Yeah, actually, like we don't have the people who are actually living near the forest here in this life. We have the people who are living in the city, so they actually don't need to face much conflict, and I don't think they need to face any kind of human wildlife conflict. There is human conflict, but yeah. So सिटीज में मोस्टली क्या होता है कि जो भी वाइल्ड लाइफ, बर्ड्स, स्नेक्स, रेप्टाइल्स जो भी रह रहे हैं, लेट दोज वाइल्ड लाइफ लिव नियर यू, डोंट रिमूव
Hmm,
दैट दैट whatever left wildlife we have in cities or villages, and don't react actually until you really feel it can harm you, and then you consult with the forest department or wildlife expert, or so many organizations are working in every city or every village. So you just need to try to understand whenever someone is guiding, or especially in the scenario of a presence of snake or something, because I get a lot of calls for snake in their locality or something, in their plot or in their agriculture field, or a civet in old haveli or government quarter, सरकारी quarter. तो ऐसे सिनेरियोज बहुत होते हैं। तो अगर एक स्नेक वहां पर रह रहा है, किसी गांव में रह रहा है, वो स्नेक भी इकोसिस्टम का पार्ट है। अगर वो स्नेक्स नहीं होंगे, वो बर्ड नहीं होंगे, वो उल्लू नहीं होंगे, तो चूहे कीड़े वगैरह इतने हो जाएंगे कि आप कुछ
hmm,
खाने लगेगी। और इवन सिटीज में इतने चूहे हो जाएंगे, और हैं या कहीं पे भी रहते हैं, इकोसिस्टम को अडेप्ट कर चुके हैं, वो भी इकोसिस्टम का पार्ट है। और स्नेक या कोई भी वाइल्ड एनिमल तब तक हार्म नहीं करता जब तक हम जाके उसे पोक नहीं करेंगे। तो जो भी
हम्म,
वाइल्ड एनिमल जहां पे भी रह रहा है उसे तब तक ना छेड़े, तब तक ना परेशान करे, जब तक सही में ही वो हार्मफुल नहीं है। बस ये है, बिकॉज वी नीड नेचर, नेचर कैन सर्वाइव विदाउट अस, नेचर डू नॉट नीड
हम्म,
अस, वी
of
नीड टू
course.
अंडरस्टैंड दिस। एंड आई होप
So,
कुछ थोड़ा बहुत बता पाया मैं।
of course, obviously. So, as promised, I would like to open the floor up to the questions at this point because I believe it is the almost time. So, the question from there are some questions in the chat box. Um, so, what are the hidden impacts of conflicts? Can you tell us on that?
Sorry.
What are the hidden impacts of the wildlife conflicts?
Hidden impacts are like I told na, direct, indirect impacts or hidden impacts.
Hmm,
Those are similar. Like we can only see the direct impacts, which we can see loss of livestock or loss of human or loss of some crop. But द हिडन इम्पैक्ट इज, जैसे किसी के घर में कोई अर्निंग मेंबर है, वही अगर मर गया तो उनका फ्यूचर का क्या
hmm,
होगा, हमें वो नहीं दिखता। बट जो मेंटल प्रेशर उनके ऊपर आता है, ट्रॉमा जिस फैमिली पे आता है, वो एक हिडन इम्पैक्ट है। और वो ऐसे बहुत सारे हिडन इम्पैक्ट है जो मेंटली, फिजिकली और ऐसे एसोसिएटेड होते हैं। तो वो एड्रेस होना बहुत जरूरी है। तो ये एक छोटा सा एग्जांपल था हिडन इम्पैक्ट्स का। देयर कैन बी सो मेनी अदर हिडन इम्पैक्ट्स।
hmm. So, moving to the next question from Javier Missa. What are the major wildlife species involved in conflicts with the humans?
Major wildlife species. So if we see, snakes are the group which are mostly involved in the conflict. Although we don't talk about snakes much, but uh, सबसे ज्यादा इंडिया में जो मौत होती है वो स्नेक बाइट से होती है,
Hmm,
वाइल्ड एनिमल्स से एनकाउंटर में या कॉन्फ्लिक्ट में। और सबसे ज्यादा गाँव में मारे भी सांप ही जाते हैं।
hmm,
ठीक है, तो सबसे ज्यादा कॉन्फ्लिक्ट जो है वो स्नेक्स को लेके है, रेप्टाइल्स को लेके है, मर्टल लिजर्ड को लेके है। फिर उसके बाद ऑब्वियसली टाइगर, लेपर्ड, स्लॉथ बेयर, हिमालयन ब्लैक बेयर, एलिफेंट, ये स्पीशीज मेनली कॉन्फ्लिक्ट में है। और वुल्फ साउथ इंडिया में या और
okay,
लैंडस्केप में वुल्फ भी अब कॉन्फ्लिक्ट में इन्वॉल्व हो जाता है, स्पीशीज जो है। So these are some species which we mainly see in the conflict scenarios.
okay. So, I hope you got your answer. So, moving to the next question from Manvendra Singh. So, how did you ensure that female leopard has only taken her cubs?
Sorry,
So, Manvendra
can
Singh
you
asked a
repeat?
question. Ah, yes. So, Manvendra Singh asked a question that how did you ensure that female leopard has only taken her own cubs?
Because there were we found five cubs together, and that leopard was staying in that patch only, and people saw her running from that patch of sugarcane. So, and what the leopard who came in the camera trap, who were taking away those cubs, we could see she's taking very gently those cubs, and her mammary glands, her tits were visible, which shows that she's the lactating mother. So yeah, that's how we identified she was the mother of those cubs.
Okay. So, I hope. You got your answer. So moving to the next question from Namrata Tiwari. How do you measure the indicators whether a wildlife corridor is working or not?
How do you measure the indicator whether a wildlife corridor is working or not? So there are
Yes,
guidelines of for these indicators, and there are ecological these indicators, and for identifying any wildlife corridor, there is some kind of ecological and social survey done, so that like in those survey we see the presence of wild animals throughout the area, science survey, camera trap based survey, and history of wild animals using that area, that corridor. These kind of things we mainly see, and there are so many guidelines as well now. There is one more question by Minakshi Singh. We would like to know more success stories from Rajasthan and how important it is to work together with first
yes,
officials. So, in Rajasthan, I have mainly worked in Sariska, and so Sariska was the place where all the tiger were posed, and tiger got declared as extinct in 2004, and in 2008 tigers were reintroduced again. It was the first tiger reserve in the world where tigers were reintroduced from Ranthambore Tiger Reserve to Sariska Tiger Reserve. तो सरिस्का टाइगर रिजर्व में 2008 में टाइगर्स आए। लोकल लोग उस चीज से काफी परेशान थे कि जब हमने 2014 में एक्चुअली आई वाज वर्किंग विद अ लेडी डॉक्टर केली डबलडे, शी वाज डूइंग हर पीएचडी इन सरिस्का, so we were doing social surveys, so we could talk to many of the villagers who are living inside the Sariska Tiger Reserve around. तो लोगों ने बताया, उनका परसेप्शन जो था तब ये था कि जो नए टाइगर है वो काफी ज्यादा ह्यूमंस के क्लोज आ जाते हैं, काफी उनका मूवमेंट जो है जंगल के बाहर भी काफी है, गांव में भी काफी है।
yes,
बट ये परसेप्शन फॉरेस्ट डिपार्टमेंट की मेहनत से और जो भी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन इन्वॉल्व थी उनकी मेहनत से ये परसेप्शन टाइम के साथ चेंज हुआ। उस टाइम सरिस्का में कुछ 7-8 टाइगर रहे होंगे, आज सरिस्का में 30 टाइगर्स हैं कब्स को मिलाकर। और लोग जो मेनली गुर्जर और मीना कम्युनिटी है यहाँ पर, वो इजीली सरिस्का में भी रह रहे हैं, सरिस्का के आसपास भी रह रहे हैं, और उन्हें पता है टाइगर लेपर्ड यहाँ पे आते हैं, हाइनास यहाँ पर आते हैं, उन्हें कुछ नहीं कहते हैं। दे आर वेरी हैप्पीली लिविंग विद देम। There are very few uh, like attacking humans, or there are a few conflict cases which I have heard from a village called Pratapgarh or something. So yeah, they are happily living here with the big kids, and obviously it is very important to work with the forest officials, because we are the researchers, or we can do all the scientific part, or we can do surveys and all, but actually the implementation part is with the forest official. They are the managers and they need to implement all the things. So if we will suggest something, we can't do everything by our own. We can't implement things on ground. So we can give reports to the manager, wildlife manager, or forest manager, field director, DCF, or PCF. They are the ones who implement those things. So it is very necessary to work in collaboration with them, and they to make them understand what actually we are doing.
okay. So that is really interesting to know. So there are some other questions. Uh, Pratiksha Chagle asks, what can we, as a general public, do to help in resolving human-wildlife conflicts?
Sorry, can you repeat?
So Protista Chaplin has asked that what can we as a general public do to help in resolving human-wildlife conflicts?
So, as a actually, we people are living in cities, so we don't face human wildlife conflict.
Hmm.
But yeah, it is necessary to create awareness. And awareness we all can create by sitting anywhere in the world, because now we have internet and these kind of whatever we are
Yes.
using today, YouTube Live, Zoom, and Google Meet, those kind of things we have. So awareness is must for to resolve anything. If the people are aware that they need to use proper bathroom uh, for sanitization, and they should not go to the forest after dark, or these kind of things, which if they will not do, or they will use for proper sanitization or something, then obviously conflict can be reduced. So that we need to create awareness, and obviously we can support wildlife organizations who are working there by financially or by volunteering them with them. Yeah, those kind of things we can do, and we need to support whatever wildlife we have in the urban areas, that we can do, because here we don't have any people living near the protected area, so we can't tell them anything. So, but people, we have so much urban wildlife, like we have mongoose, palm civet, a small Indian civet, and so many birds. So we can make a space for them, and we can support them to live with us, because they are actually living there.
Hmm.
We encroach their place. So yeah, for human wildlife conflict, we can only do these things here by living in the urban places. Otherwise, do support
Okay.
organizations whatever are working for wildlife.
So that is really interesting to know. So there are another question from Manvender Singh. Is there any incident in your real life where local people took measures in their own hand to protect any endangered species before forest officers took measures?
So, if you know Bishnoi community,
Hmm.
those people are the perfect example of protecting the species, wildlife species. They are protecting chinkaras, black bug in their region, and wherever they are, they try to protect any species. So yeah, Bishnoi community is well known to protecting trees and even faunal species such as black bug and chinkara. They are
Hmm.
protecting, and also there are some example in northeast, like where there are some communities who like made conservation reserves to protect wildlife species. There is a village, I am not remembering the whole story, but there is a village in Nagaland called Konuma कोहिमा करके
Hmm.
एक जगह है। वहां पर उन लोगों ने एक बर्ड का भी मुझे अभी ध्यान नहीं है, बट उन लोगों ने एक कंजर्वेशन रिजर्व बनाया था वो बर्ड स्पीशीज को प्रोटेक्ट करने के लिए, जो कि पहले बहुत हंट होती थी। तो
Okay.
उस स्पीशीज को उनने खुद ने रियलाइज करा कि ये स्पीशीज जो कम हो गई है, उसके बाद उन्होंने कंजर्वेशन रिजर्व डिक्लेयर कराया। तो ऐसी बहुत सारी जगह हैं, बहुत सारे केसेस हैं।
Okay. So I hope you got your answer. So it so there are no more questions. So thank you for sharing your knowledge. So it appears that our session is coming to a close, and I will now be concluding the question answer segment. Aman sir. It has been an absolute pleasure engaging in this conversation with you, and I'd like to extend our heartfelt gratitude on behalf of the entire Sustaina Greens and our attentive audience. Finally, I also had to thank to our gifting partner, Treewire, for helping our products and also use code Sustaina20 to use the other products. Without all of you, this session would not have been possible, and we assure you that in the coming month, we have another exciting session in store for you. To stay informed about our upcoming session, please consider subscribing to our channel, and I wish all a fantastic weekend. Thank you, everyone.
One thing also, you can refer to the IUCN guideline of human wildlife conflict
Yes,
to know more about human wildlife conflict in details. And I am fortunate to say that one of my senior, Dr. Mayuk Chatterjee, was also involved writing these guidelines. So IUCN guidelines you can refer if you want to know more details.
of course.
Yeah. Thank you.
So thank you, everyone. We'll end up here.